Hey y'all, what's up? It's Scott here from Scott Bell Visuals, and today I'm going to tell you how I use the Moza Air gimbal with the Panasonic GH5. So I think most people know all about gimbals these days. These small handheld ones are really convenient for independent filmmakers like myself. And what I really was looking for was something that was small and was easy to fit into my backpack, yet had lots of capabilities. So I ended up settling on the Moza Air, and while this isn't really much of a review of this product, I just wanted to show you some of the features that I added to this gimbal to make it work better with the Panasonic GH5. And so to start, one thing that I really wanted was a quick release plate on this gimbal. It doesn't by default come with one. So I installed this little guy here. It's just a simple Arca Swiss quick release plate. I work with Arca Swiss on all my gear. On the GH5 itself, I've got a L bracket, Arca Swiss L bracket, so it allows me to do photography work if I want to have my camera mounted in a portrait position or landscape position. I take off the L bracket component when I'm doing video work, but that said, I do have a large Arca Swiss base plate on here. And it adds some weight to the camera, so it does make it a little bit different on the balance on the gimbal. But I'm just going to throw this on here. And with the GH5, you really have to have the camera pushed all the way over to this side so that you're able to bring the flip screen out if you want to be using that to get the balance right. And what you'll see actually if you're looking right at the camera is there is a little bit of it's slightly off balance. And so there's a couple ways you could fix this. You could adjust this back adjustment point here, and you could slide this out more so that the camera was tipped more to this side and it would balance. However, if you do that, what you end up with is the camera coming down and it will actually hit at the bottom of the gimbal when you go into inverted mode. And so I'm just barely shaving by now, but you can see the camera is not sitting level. So what I did to deal with that is I just took a couple of little nuts and I attached them onto a piece of sticky Velcro, and I put a piece of sticky Velcro right on the arm here on the gimbal. And so when I need to use this particular setup, I just Velcro those on there, and now you'll see now the gimbal is sitting fairly level. Part of this is due to the fact that I have this base plate on. It's lifted my center of gravity a little bit higher on the camera. If the camera is mounted directly to the lower base plate that comes with the gimbal, you don't have this issue. But I wanted to just be able to easily pull the camera off, throw it onto another tripod or whatever I wanted to do with it, work handheld, hence putting the base plate on there. But this kind of deals with that issue, which works out well. The next thing I wanted to be able to do with the gimbal was have my microphone mounted right on the gimbal. And when I'm working with on-camera mics, I'm generally just working with the Rode Video Micro. It's not the best mic in the world, but it does a pretty good job and it's lightweight. So when I'm working in the backcountry, I don't really want to carry any more gear than I have to, and so I've opted to go with this little guy. My first attempt at adding this to the gimbal was to mount it just on the side here. There's a 1/4-20 mount here, and I attached a cold shoe mount plate here on that point. And I was like, oh yeah, this will be great. I'll put the little microphone right onto here. Boom, I've got it on there. And then I'd need to get probably a longer cord, so I had some slack. And I'm just going to turn on the gimbal here so you can see the issue with this though. So I'm picking it up, and if I'm pointing at my subject, all of a sudden my mic is pointing at the ground, and so it doesn't really work. So I really needed to figure out a way to have the mic work with the camera itself. And so I'll take this off here, and I'll put it on the top of the camera. And what we'll see now is when you want to actually pan forward, the gimbal runs into the microphone. And so it doesn't give you that much flexibility. You can get a little bit of movement, but not as much as I really wanted. So what I figured I needed was some way to mount the microphone a little further back off of the camera body so that it wasn't going to bump into things. And so the solution I've come up with that is a little cheese bar. This is from Small Rig. It's just a threaded little bar that is lightweight. And what I've mounted on this is a cold shoe plate, and as well as the cold shoe threaded mount that you'd normally have. And so I put this right onto my camera here. And then I mount my mic up here. And then I can actually connect my cable even on here. That's nice and out of the way. So what you'll see now is the balance on this is completely off. And so I just have to readjust the base plate to compensate for this a little bit. I'll save you guys the burden of watching me balance the gimbal. It doesn't take very long, but I'll speed this up for you. Okay, there we go. So that took a little longer than it normally does, but we're good to go. And so I've taken off those two little nuts. It's no longer needed. I guess the microphone weight kind of balances that out. I'm just gonna power the gimbal up again. And now what you'll see is with the microphone mounted out towards the front, I actually get much more range of motion with this. I still can't go any further than this without hitting the microphone, but it works in all modes, inverted mode. And so really nice to have that microphone on there, but still have it away from the camera body a little bit. Nice thing about this is, if I turn this off, say I just want to pop the camera off here still, I can actually still shoot with this microphone in this position. And so it works quite well for if I'm still wanting to go handheld periodically and not work with the gimbal. So fairly simple setup, but I think it solves some of the issues that I've found with this gimbal so far. So one thing I'd mentioned about using the GH5 with this gimbal is if you do want to use it in inverted mode, I'm just going to pop it back on here, you're actually only able to go in inverted mode from this direction unless you're working with an external monitor, because here you're actually going to hit your LCD screen if you have it in the out position. Granted, you could put it in and you wouldn't have that problem, but just something worth noting. Otherwise, I've found this gimbal actually works quite well with this camera. I've really enjoyed the extra capabilities that it gives me. So yeah, I hope that was helpful to some folks. I know when I was shopping around for a gimbal, it was really tough to know how it would work with my camera. Would you be able to balance it? Can I add a quick release plate and still get that balance? I know with the Zhiyun Crane version 2, I tried to do this and I wasn't actually able to balance the Panasonic GH5 on that gimbal. So it's nice with the Moza Air, I guess, because it handles a bit more weight and some of the arms are a little bit longer. It actually accommodates the camera in the fashion that I'd like. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I'll put a link to these components that I used for this, so if you guys want to pick up your own, you can find them. As always, thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to keep following along. I hope to be posting videos on a much more regular basis. Stuff like this, tutorials and gear stuff, as well as behind the scenes and just getting out there, doing video work and doing photography out in the field, out in nature, seeing beautiful places. Alright guys, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you had a great new year and got out there and made lots of beautiful stuff. And I'll see you soon. Peace.